There's a reason you wake up at 3 a.m. Not because of noise, not because of stress, not because of coincidence. It happens suddenly. Your eyes open without warning. Your heart is already alert. Room feels different, quieter than it should be, heavier than before. You didn't hear anything, yet something feels wrong. You lie still, listening, convinced that if you move, you'll confirm a fear you don't want to name. Most people tell themselves it's nothing, just bad sleep, just anxiety. But the body doesn't wake itself for no reason, especially not at the same hour, especially not when fear arrives before thought. This is not a story about superstition. This is about the moment your mind decides something is watching even when nothing is there. Once you understand why 3 a.m. exists inside the brain, you may never fall asleep the same way again. The human sleep cycle is carefully structured. Every night, the brain moves through predictable stages: light sleep, deep sleep, and dreaming. Each stage has a purpose. Each protects the body in a different way. But around 3 a.m., something unusual happens. At this hour, the brain begins its transition from deep sleep into heightened awareness. Body temperature drops. Melatonin peaks. The environment is at its quietest. Most importantly, the brain's threat detection system becomes more sensitive. Evolution designed this moment. For early humans, the middle of the night was the most dangerous time. Predators hunted when silence was deepest. Visibility was lowest. Survival depended on waking suddenly without explanation before danger announced itself. The brain learned to do this without evidence. It learned to wake first and ask questions later. That instinct never disappeared. Modern humans don't sleep in forests anymore, but the brain does not update its fears easily. At 3 a.m., the mind enters a state where imagination fills the gaps left by silence. Logic is reduced. Instinct takes control. That's why fear feels immediate. You don't wake up afraid. You wake up aware, and fear follows. At this hour, the amygdala, the brain's fear center, becomes more active than the rational mind. This means your brain is scanning for threats without explaining why. Every sound feels intentional. Every shadow feels precise. The brain is asking an ancient question: are we safe? But safety at 3 a.m. is hard to prove. Silence becomes suspicious. Stillness feels unnatural. The mind begins searching for meaning where none exists. That is why people report the same sensations across cultures, generations, and belief systems. The feeling of being watched, the fear of looking at the doorway, the certainty that something is behind them. These fears are not learned. They are remembered. Another reason 3 a.m. feels different is because this is when the brain replays unresolved emotions. Stress, guilt, trauma, and suppressed thoughts surface when distractions disappear. During the day, the mind hides them. At night, especially at 3 a.m., the brain reviews them. But it does not review them gently. Thoughts appear without context. Memories surface without explanation. Fear arrives without permission. The mind does not tell you what's wrong, it tells you something is wrong. This is why the fear feels personal. Some people try to distract themselves. They check their phone. They turn on lights. They scroll until exhaustion returns. But light does not calm the brain, it only delays the question. Why did I wake up? The darker truth is that sometimes the brain wakes you because it detects internal threat, not external danger. Elevated cortisol, irregular heart rhythms, breathing changes. The brain monitors the body constantly, even during sleep. If something feels off, it wakes you instantly. But the brain does not explain biology in words. It explains in fear. Fear needs a reason, so the mind creates one. A presence, a sound, a shadow, a feeling. This is how imagined threats feel real. The most disturbing part is that the brain does not care if the threat is real. It only cares that you survive. False alarms are acceptable. Missed threats are not. So the brain would rather scare you awake 1,000 times than let you sleep through one real danger. That logic is ancient and terrifying. Some neuroscientists believe the reason 3 a.m. is so specific is because it represents the lowest point of human alertness. The brain compensates by increasing fear sensitivity. It's not trying to scare you, it's trying to keep you alive. But fear does not feel protective. It feels hostile. This is why people experience the same sensations at 3 a.m. even in safe environments. Locked rooms, quiet houses, familiar spaces. Safety does not silence instinct. Instinct does not trust comfort. Over time, repeated 3 a.m. awakenings train the brain to expect danger at that hour. Fear becomes anticipatory. You don't just wake up, you wait to wake up. Sleep becomes shallow. The mind listens even while dreaming, and that is when nightmares change. Dreams become sharper near this hour, darker, more emotional. The brain is already alert, already searching. Nightmares feel closer to waking life. Sometimes they blend. This is why some people wake up unable to move. Sleep paralysis often occurs near 3 a.m. when dreaming and waking overlap. The brain is awake, the body is not. Fear fills the gap. The presence feels real because the brain believes it is. People across the world describe the same paralysis shadow, the same pressure, the same terror. Different cultures give it different names, but the experience is identical. That is not coincidence. That is biology wearing the mask of horror. Another unsettling truth is that the brain associates 3 a.m. with vulnerability. Darkness is deepest, help is farthest, awareness is lowest. This is when fear speaks loudest because logic is weakest, and fear is persuasive. It tells you stories, it shows you images, it convinces you to believe. Some people report hearing their name whispered at this hour. Others report footsteps, breathing, movement. But the brain is capable of generating sound hallucinations when deprived of sensory input. Silence becomes a canvas. Fear paints on it. The mind hates uncertainty, so it creates meaning. But not all awakenings are imagined. Sometimes the brain wakes you because something inside you needs attention. Emotional overload, suppressed fear, unresolved trauma. The brain uses fear to force awareness. It does not care about comfort. It cares about survival. The dark reason you wake at 3 a.m. is not because something is watching you. It's because your brain is. It is monitoring, remembering, protecting, replaying ancient warnings in a modern world that no longer understands them. Once the brain learns to associate 3 a.m. with fear, the cycle feeds itself. Fear wakes you. Waking confirms fear. The memory strengthens. This is how a single hour becomes haunted. Not by spirits, but by instinct. The most unsettling realization is that the fear disappears as morning approaches. Light returns, sound returns, logic returns. The brain relaxes, as if nothing ever happened, which makes you question yourself. And fear loves that, because doubt weakens trust. And when you stop trusting your perception, fear becomes the loudest voice left. That is why 3 a.m. is not just an hour. It is a reminder. Your brain never stopped protecting you. It just never learned when to stop. You wake up at 3 a.m. because your brain is doing what it was designed to do, detect danger when you are most vulnerable. Fear sharpens awareness, fills silence, and creates meaning where none exists. This fear is not random. It is inherited, learned, and reinforced by memory. Your mind does not wake you to scare you. It wakes you because forgetting fear once meant death. If this story felt uncomfortably familiar, that's not coincidence. Your brain recognized a pattern older than language. If you want more stories that explore fear, sleep, and the hidden instincts inside the human mind, subscribe and stay alert, because when you wake at 3 a.m. tonight, you'll remember this, and your mind will be listening.